Hey Soul Sparklers, it's all happening.
With a soul sparkle, soul sparkle. With a soul
Hello,
sparkle.
everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Soul Sparkle Living Show. So excited to be back with you this week and joined by my sweet, sweet friend, Alexa Bigwarfe. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Always a blessing to spend time with you, darling. I mean, I'm already smiling because I know where this is going to go, which is such a thing. So before we jump into it, I know that I think we want to focus on the path of creating magic through writing, because that's kind of how you've honestly kind of crafted your entire business in life. It started from a deep heartbreak in your life. Now you've used words and the power of story and writing to really bring not only your message to the masses, but also to help so many others bring their stories to life as well. So I want to just kind of honor you for the journey that you've been on, and what a gift that your work is in the world. So thank you for doing the work that you do.
Thank you. I love it. I wouldn't know what else to do. So that's kind of one of those things that it kind of fell upon me, and I had a choice to either lie down and let the world stomp all over me and in my moment of grief, but that's not who I am. I couldn't. So, writing is such an important part of that. And I don't know how much you want me to get into the details now or whether we're just going to go on forward.
No, I mean, I think that it's a beautiful and powerful message when we use our grief, the things that happen to us in order to serve the world, right? So I'd love for you to share a little bit more about that, because I do feel that was such a turning point for you.
Yeah.
And way, like you said, you can go one way or the other, like a choice point. And can you use that grief in order to create a blessing? And I think that's what you did.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been in therapy a lot over the last 15 years for a variety of reasons. I think everybody should be in therapy personally, but one of the things that I have seen is the different types of therapy that they help you go through trauma and all of these. And I think it's CBT, cognitive based therapy. One of the treatments actually is sitting down and writing your story. I mean, they wanted me to write it like 100 times. Like, you sit down and you just write it and you write it and you write it until you can do it without being so stricken, whatever it is, so impacted, triggered by your own story. Now, granted, if you've gone through something significantly traumatic and you need a lot of different kind of therapy, don't do that. Like, go through whatever a therapist tells you to do. But if it's something you're trying to process and move forward with and heal from, which in my case was I had lost an infant daughter, and I turned to blogging because I was angry. Honestly, I was grieving, but I was also very angry at the ineptitudes in our medical system. I was very angry at things that had been said to me and how I'd been misled. I was angry that people would dare to say things. At least you got to bring one home because they were identical twins. I was angry at my family for the way that I felt like they didn't hold me up and support me when I was angry, but I was also sad. And I had another baby who was a 1 pound, 10 ouncer in the NICU. And I had to push aside a lot of what I was going through to focus on her. And I had two basically toddlers at home. My son had just turned 5, but he was still little and wild and rambunctious, and a 2-year-old. And so there was a lot happening. And my blog turned to a place where not only was it really nice for me to do these things, I quickly realized that what I love to do is to help others. So I started providing stories. I'm like, okay, what can I do with this? All right, it really hurt my feelings when people said or did these things. It really hurt me that they didn't do these things. So I started writing stories about what you can actually do to help a mother in that situation. And that started getting such great positive feedback. So now it's like, serotonin hits or dopamine hits or whatever for me, because I'm getting positive feedback and bonding with people and feeling like I'm doing something good. And it all just started growing from there.
And what a gift it's been, because not only your personal story that you were able to share, and how many thousands and thousands of people have been impacted by your own personal story, but then also you were able to take that and turn it into a business in a way that now you bring other stories to life through your publishing company, books, and all the other things that you're doing. So I'd love for you to kind of take us on that part of the journey too, because it really birthed an entire life for you from that
Yeah.
heartbreaking and devastating experience. You took it and turned it into such a blessing to the world.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I had no idea that I was so entrepreneurial, but as it turns out, I'm a really good entrepreneur. I see a need and a way to fix it, and I build a business around it. And that's exactly what happened because first of all, I loved the publishing at the time in 2012 when I was first starting out. It's a whole different world than it was back then. Like the way publishing has evolved in the last 12, 13 years is, I mean, insane. So there was a lot to be figured out then that is a lot easier now. But I basically, as I started figuring this whole thing out, people would come to me and say, okay, I also want to. So I forgot the part where I actually published a book for grieving mothers. That's an important piece of it. Like I moved from the blog to doing books and worked with a lot of wonderful people to do that. We have over 30 contributors to it, including Sean Haynish, who is a producer of the movie, of many movies, but of Return to Zero, which was really cool working with him. That's a book about their stillborn child and the process that they went through. Anyway, it was a wonderful process, learned a lot of things, made a lot of really great connections. And as I'm out there talking about what I'm doing, people started coming to me and saying, I also suffered the loss of a child or went through this or went through that. Can you help me? And I was like, I don't see why not. I figured it out. I'll help you do this because I wanted as many books in the world as possible to help that. And from there, I was just like, oh my goodness, like this is something people need. I needed it. I needed something budget friendly because we had no money, stay-at-home mom with 3 little kids. And, I was like, I want to help other people figure this out too. So I started a blog and was just teaching people the tools that I found and the resources that I found, and then I just kept adding to it. So whatever I could do for people that they couldn't do for themselves, I really, really just have this massive desire to help people make changes and make a difference and make an impact with their words. And I want to help them get past the barriers that are out there because I know not only how good it is for the people who need those books, but I know it's just been transformational for me to do this too.
What a gift. What a gift. And I love it's almost like you've brought your own personal mission, your own passion, and your expertise and your heart for service, which you clearly have. And you've like rolled it all up in a ball and been like, all right, here's my business and my life, which is such an inspiration, I think, for anyone that's listening that has a calling, right? And knows that they're deeply passionate about certain things, whether it be storytelling or speaking or writing or serving or whatever it is, but finding the path, kind of like I have as well with Soul Sparkle, finding the path to where you can be at the highest level of service. And it's so fulfilling to your soul that you just can't wait to get up and do the thing every day. I love it so
Yes.
much.
And there has to be, this is, I don't know if we've talked about this or not, but I know for me, like the biggest thing that I struggled with in the beginning was I felt truly guilty about using my story as a way to make money. So I wasn't even marketing Sunshine After the Storm, a survival guide for the grieving mother. I'm marketing it now, but I wasn't marketing it at the time because I just wanted to give it to any mother who needed it. It made me feel gross to even imagine someone making money for me by buying this book, right? So I actually started a nonprofit and for 10 years sent packages at zero charge to grieving mothers that included the book and included some socks and chapstick and teas and chocolate and other kinds of things that were nice and made me feel a little better to receive that in that time. But the thing is, I was spending a lot of money to do that. So I started fundraising to bring in money, but that wasn't like, I didn't love that piece of it. I don't love the back end of running a nonprofit, but I did really love helping people get their books published. So I was like, okay, I've got to charge people for these services. I've got to make some money. I've got to do things because I can't just keep spending thousands and thousands of dollars that I don't have that was going on credit cards to serve others. So there has to be a balance.
Sure. Well, and it feels like for all of us that have that heart for service and want to give back, that's why I'm also so passionate about helping, especially women entrepreneurs, right? Everyone like soul led leaders, but specifically those that have massive contributions to make to the world. It's like, we need to make more so we can give more. I don't
Yes.
more shoes. I've got 3 pair of shoes right over there, and that's all I pretty much ever need. But I think that it's why those that have big hearts that would do more good work in the world, we need them to make more money. So that way we can build and serve and donate. And like you said, use the nonprofit or use those beautiful, like, I'm thinking like comfort kits or something. I don't know what you call it, but it's what it feels like in my brain that it would fund that, right?
Yeah.
Because it does make you so happy to be able to give in that way. And what a blessing to those women and those mothers to be able to get those gifts as well. So I love that you've also kind of weaved that service piece into your business and your life. And for me, it's always been I'm always more motivated to make more because if I have a project that I'm working on, like building houses in Nicaragua, and when we did that, or when we were doing the microloans, if it was like that lights me up in a way that nothing else does, truly, nothing else.
I agree. It's interesting because over the years, like through the nonprofit and through different things that I did with Sunshine After the Storm, I have come in contact with a lot of grieving mothers. And you can see people, not just grieving mothers, but people in grief in general. You can see people who are not able to move themselves out of what's happening to them as opposed to people that are. And one of the common things I've studied a lot about happiness. Let me tell you, I wanted to know what makes you happy, what can make you feel joy again, how to get back up out of that because I don't like feeling that way. And what I've found and what I've seen through my own eyes is that the people who serve others are the happiest in the world. There's a caveat though. You have to also be serving yourself. And that's where I finally got to the point where you just are, where I was like, I cannot give the way I like to give if I'm trying to do it from an empty cup. So I have to have the resources to be able to do it. But when people ask me they ask all the time, how did you keep moving? How did you build this thing from such a sad place? And it's like, because I chose to. I made that choice every single day. And I found things that gave me purpose. And, Catherine was here for 2 days, and that little baby girl has had probably the biggest impact of any 2 days any person's ever had on earth, maybe other than Jesus. Okay, that's probably a really unfair comparison. She had a huge impact in 2 days, Maybe you should edit that out. I don't want anybody coming after me calling.
All right, babe. It's okay. No one's got
But I mean, because of the gift that she gave to me of wanting to continue to serve and to do things to help others who are experiencing that, in all the work that we've done from the March of Dimes and all the fundraising and all of those things to help them come up with better cures and with better treatments and all that stuff. Like I was just set on fire by trying to make someone else's life better and not have to go through what I went through.
And what a beautiful legacy for those 2 days of life, right?
Mhm.
You created an extraordinary legacy that she was able to leave because of how you've used that to touch other people. And what a blessing to make that choice because I think there's also a massive lack of resources, lack of education, a lack of support, a lack of understanding. I think grief in general
Yes,
a
agreed.
completely unsupported situation. And most of us have no idea. Like you said, you say the wrong thing or you say nothing. You don't show up in the way that really would be a benefit because you were never really taught. We just kind
Right.
of fumble our way through it awkwardly and uncomfortably because we don't really know. So I think not only were you serving that specific demographic of women that have lost babies, you're also broadening the possibility for how to serve people in a place of grief. And I think you hit on a couple of really important things. One on the happiness and the ability to find purpose through service. Absolutely. And the research that I've done on that too, it's like the fastest way to flip yourself into a different state, out of depression, out of grief, maybe not out, but like a little bit on the other side, like moving forward is by serving other people. It truly does
Yes.
shift everything. And I've always done that myself whenever I'm like not feeling myself. I'm like, I need to I need to show up and serve because that's going to make me get out of whatever it is that I'm in and I'm going to step into a different state of mind and a state of being. And the other thing too is finding that purpose and crafting a life in a business that really feels meaningful. And I think so many people go their whole lives sometimes and never find the thing that really lights them up, that really sets them on fire. And I want to segue into what is setting you on fire right now, because I do feel like this is a new chapter for you, and it's
Yeah.
such an exciting moment of creation and creativity. And so you've gone from, the grieving and the serving in that way and the legacy that you've built. And now you're creating these incredible stories and like love stories of traveling, and they're fabulous. And you just published a new one, right?
The Christmas Market Mashup by Lexi Haddock is my pen name for romance. My nonfiction are under Alexa Bigwarfe, and my fiction are all under Lexi Haddock.
Okay, so we're going to make sure that we put the links here for everyone that wants to.
Thank you.
So is this your second or third one in this
This is the third one, and they're all in a series. But you know what? It follows the same exact theme, Hayley, because what had happened was I was actually, and I'm still working, well, I put it aside, but I was working on a historical fiction set in France about a woman during the resistance, an American woman who's in France when the war kicks off in World War II. Heavy, heavy stuff, right? I mean, and it's a heavy book. There's a lot of, bad things that happen in this book. And COVID happened. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't. Like, the world is so heavy. I cannot just be reading all these sad stories. And even if there's wonderful things that came out of some of them. Anyway, so I was like, I'm going to find something happier. And I had become friends with a woman who writes romantic comedies. She was in my community, and I was, we'd become friends, and I started reading her books. And I'd always loved watching the Hallmark holiday romance movies and things, but I started reading her books, and I would just be sitting there in bed, laughing. And I'm like, this is magical. And so I'm also going through a divorce at the time, and things were not exactly cheery and bright and wonderful. And I thought about a story of something that happened to me in 1999 when I was living and working in Paris. On New Year's Eve, my friends and I threw a party, and my French friend, had invited her cousin from Strasbourg to come to Paris, and he and some friends came and they met us. And it was just like one of those situations where I saw him and I was just like, oh, so
I know that feeling.
and so every time people read my books and they're like, insta love, it's so silly, it never happens. And I'm like, y'all, this was a real story, and it does happen. Yes. So now in real life, Svan and I did the beginning of the book is based on a true story. We went to a nightclub after we watched the fireworks at the Eiffel Tower on New Year's Eve, 1999 to 2000. I mean, epic. And then we spent the whole night walking around the city and just talking and having this deep, deep connection. And we saw each other multiple times after that before I came back to the United States, but nothing more than that happened, than that brief romance over about 2 or 3 days. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a story with that as the beginning, because what a great story, but it's going to have a different ending. And they're going to get together. They're going to do this. And so that's how 4 Days in Paris came about. It was really just a story that I wanted to write as I was healing through so much darkness in my own world. And I'm such a romantic, a lot of people in divorce are like, I hate people. I hate men. I'm never going to be married again. I'm never whatever. And I was like the other way. I'm like, let's go all out on the romance and dream about what's possible. So I originally was going to be a standalone book, but then I'm following the trends because I'm a book marketing expert, so I'm like, what's happening now in rom-com? And everybody's doing these series where these books basically follow the same group of people, but through different stories of the characters, right? So I was like, all right, we're going to do this. So book 2 takes one of the other main characters from the book, and it's Lila's story. And Lila is American as well, and she winds up falling in love with the best friend of the boyfriend from book 1. So, it's that journey. And then in book 3, a new character kind of came to me. She was very, very small part in book 2, an American girl who's living in America, and she's best friends with the girl from book 2. I know it's a little bit confusing, but they invite her to come spend Christmas together. And Strasbourg, and they're walking around the market in Strasbourg, and she literally runs into this guy and is totally stunned by him. And it turns out that he's visiting from the air base he's at in Germany, which is just across the border. And they like start talking. He's a pilot in the Air Force, and she's got a brother who's in the Marine Corps. It's December 2004, so the war is happening in Iraq. And you know this. Your listeners don't know this, but I was in the Air Force, so this book was super fun for me because I also got to pull in some of my military time and that. And so it just yes, I'm having so much fun. So it's like
This is great. It's
yes.
so inspiring too, because I'm like, oh my God, I have so many stories. I could write fiction books about.
Heck yeah. It's so fun and it allows you to relive those moments. And I don't know what I'm going to do from here. I think I'm really like, okay, I've got the 20 something books, like the young girls and the 20 something out. What I really feel called to right now is to write about more women our age and what we're going through and the things we're doing. But I don't want to lose this story that I've created with this group of girls.
If you do it when they're older, like,
Yes, I'm gonna make a jump
it's
20
like Sex and the
years.
City reboot or something.
Yes, I'm gonna make a jump probably like I don't know whether I'm gonna start in COVID or like right after COVID or something like, but make that jump. And I mean, my real story about what happened during COVID. And like for everybody who doesn't know the secret story, I reunited with my boyfriend from when I'd been a student in France, and we had a magical love story for 2 years. Gosh,
Good. So good. Those foreign love stories, I'm a sucker for those, obviously.
I know. I mean, we have so much in common.
That's why it's so fun to talk about it.
I
And
know.
it's like there is this fantasy around it, right?
Yes.
Like not the boy next door. It's like you fall in love in a coffee shop or, you drive through a town on a bus and you get a full body chill and you're like, I've got to get off this bus because there's something here for me. Like those are the kind of things that actually happen. Like they
Yeah.
actually happen.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like you said, some people are like, oh, that's not real. And you're like, actually, it is totally real.
Yeah. And the other thing about my books is that I love France and I love French food and Paris and the coast and Strasbourg and all of these things. So when I write my books, the city, the setting is very much a character. Like I go in deep. The Eiffel Tower in my first book is its own character. Callie, the main character, even talks to the Eiffel Tower. Like I love this relationship. But some of the feedback that I've gotten is how detailed, like people feel like they're actually there. They can taste that taste and smell the smells, and it's like they're there. And I it's a real hardship, Hayley, but I make sure that I go to France as often as possible to continue to do my research. And
Orange baby, somebody's got to do it.
I went to Strasbourg last Christmas so that I could make sure that I remembered how things. Now, granted, it's grown and changed quite a bit since 2004, but the city itself hasn't changed that much, and just getting the layout and the feel and all of those types of things. I love that piece of it. I also, for folks our age who, it's kind of a throwback to things that were happening at that time. I do a lot of research as to what was going on. And it's funny, we forget that in the early 2000s, like we didn't have smartphones. Like we had just gotten regular mobile phones that we couldn't even we're just figuring out how to text maybe. And and so a lot of fun throwbacks to that. In this last one, I do a lot of throwbacks to Love Actually, because I love that movie. And it's very, this whole like fall in love and all the different things that happen and the spontaneous moments in the airports. And I actually saw some research about how many people fall in love in airports or while traveling, and it's a huge number.
Huge.
One of my best friends is married to a guy that she met on a plane coming back from Peru or someplace.
I've fallen in love on a few flights. Yeah.
I have too, but I don't know that they fell in love.
Like, how many flights have you taken? Well,
Right.
So I think what's so beautiful too, at least for me, is this feeling of being so present in the moment and just letting yourself have an experience.
Yeah.
Right. And I have felt that recently of like, you know what? Not everything has to be forever, but it can be so transformative and so fabulous in the tiny sliver of time that people are in and out of your life, right?
Yes.
And that's such a huge lesson, I think, for all of us, really. And we're taught that, well, when you do this or choose that, it has to be for the rest of your life, or it doesn't matter, or it failed, or all of these things that we tell ourselves about love. And I think for me, some of the most impactful moments and memories of my life have been in those small chapters, like micro chapters of your
Yeah.
whole life. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be forever, but people come into our lives for, reasons and seasons. Some stay for lifetimes, but more times than not, it's they come for a reason, and a beautiful experience can unfold from just these tiny micro chapters in these little slivers of time. And then they make for great stories.
Yes.
I got so many stories now because I've given myself permission to fall in love with people wherever I am in the
I mean, girl, you're basically living under the Tuscan sun, but just put it, I don't know, Greek, wherever you are right now. Yes. Yes, we love those. I mean, why do you think we've all eat, pray, loved our way around the world? Those of us who love that like wanderlust and the idea that there's still magic. That's what I put in my dedication, actually. I said, this book is for all the women who still believe in magic and fated love. And like you said, fated love, it doesn't have to be forever. For some people, it's not. But those moments that they change us and they do something for us and help us become better.
Well, they help you become who we're meant to be, right? And
Yes.
I've thought about this recently because it's the way like you said, yes, I do. I do have a little bit of an eat, pray, love for the last decade. No big deal. Who's counting? But
No big deal.
realize is that I do fall in love with people, right? I fall in love with people and places and the culture
Mhm.
and the customs and the way they do life and the way they love each other and the way they spend time together. That's the most recent experience, yeah, in Greece is that, the way that they do life in community is so beautiful and so different so in contrast to what
Yeah.
we do in the US, right? Like
Yeah.
we go alone a lot of the times. We drink coffee in the car on the way to the thing. And it's like, that does not happen. Well, it doesn't happen really in France, Greece, or Italy, in my experience, but just the way that they enjoy their food and their
Oh my
meals
gosh.
and the connection and the hours of
Yes.
conversation. It's so beautiful. And it just has given me this new sense of, and I'm so introverted, you know this. I don't talk to people like at all. And I can spend a month on an island by myself and I'm okay, right? Very rich inner world. But being with all of these wonderful people, I was just so moved by the way they care for each other and the
Yeah.
connections. And I think there's so much to be learned. And it goes back to the blue zones. Like they can smoke all day long, drink wine all day, every day if they want to, but they are so connected and they eat incredible food and they do
Yes.
nothing alone. And I think that is such a beautiful lesson for all of us to understand that we're not meant to do life alone. And when we do it
Right.
with other people, the strength of those connections is what keeps us alive and young and vibrant, right? And we can learn so much from them.
I
I agree.
totally agree. That was probably the biggest thing that impacted me as a student. I spent my junior year in France, and it was those moments. I came home and I felt like in 9 months of going to university, I had closer friends from that 9 months than from the previous 21 years of my life. And the people that I became the closest with are still my close friends, my best friends.
He's there. Yeah.
Hmm.
Your bestie is in
Mm.
France. Oh.
Yes, she is. Yes, she
Mm.
is. And oh, Haley, we are going to look at property in Northwest France this year because I want to buy a place for running writing retreats and for helping people have a space to make the magic. So I don't know when I'm going to buy. I don't have, 300,000 euro just laying around anywhere right now. But
By himself either. You remember that, right?
right,
Sometimes
right.
it takes
That's
a village.
true.
I think we should get a whole village, like either in France or Italy or maybe Greece. I don't
Let's
know.
buy a village.
Right?
Oh my
Um,
gosh,
okay.
that's gonna be one of my next books.
Okay.
Okay, this,
Maybe you
we'll
could write the story of my life for me.
okay,
I could just,
okay, okay.
what do you think?
We'll write it into being, yes.
But yeah, we could have a whole village. I think it would be so cool to do that and have like multiple places around the world. I've thought about this. You've probably
Yeah,
seen me talk about it for a while now, but I think it'd be incredible to have multiple different places. So that way we could be here for a while and then there for a while and a few months here and there. everyone would have their own private space, like little casitas or cottages, but then there would be like one main, like community space where it would be a huge kitchen and we'd all cook together and it would be
I love it. Gypsy life. Hell yeah. Let's do it.
you know I'm all about that. So I'm sorting out the options, but I love the idea of you. I mean, I'm obviously passionate about that since I did that in Italy.
Yes.
Um, Giving people the opportunity to come and not only for my own personal retreats, but people like you that want to host
Yeah.
something and have them supported in a really beautiful way. I think that will be so lovely. It's interesting. I just had a conversation yesterday or the day before yesterday. I don't even know what day it is right now, but with one of my clients that came and spent time with me here in Greece. I'm actually not right now, but I was, yes, last week. And she came and spent time with me on Crete. And she said, there is something so special and transformative about going away from your normal everyday to day
Yes.
life and putting yourself in a space where you can step back into like that
Yes.
wonder and whimsy and magic. And the opportunity to create from that place is so powerful because it's not in your regular day-to-day rut thing. It's in this beautiful and magical surroundings where you like all of these things we're talking about, this magic and these beautiful conversations and connections and the magic that happens around meals when we're,
Yes.
together in real life is so powerful. So I love that you have that dream and I can't wait to see it come true.
I can't either. And I'm starting with baby steps. I'm actually running a writing retreat in Paris in August of 2026, which I'm super excited about. And honestly, that's the focus of what you just said. Like, I don't have a bunch of workshops planned out. I don't have, because I know that being in a beautiful environment, sitting there, watching beautiful things, going to beautiful places, doing all the things like that spurs the creativity. So I will do some workshops around like incorporating your setting as a character and really making that so rich for people. But beyond that, I'm there for the conversation. I'm there for going to see some of the things I've never gotten to see in Paris, despite living there and going back a million times. I've never been through the catacombs. So I was like, we've got to go do that. Like, that's so cool.
Sure. Really cool. I
So
love it.
yeah, it's a way to get started so I can build my get some pictures, get some testimonials, get some feedback and all that kind of stuff so that when I am ready to buy a place, I already have people that are lined up waiting to go on these magical adventures with me. So,
Love it. I'm down. I'll come
yeah,
visit. I'm in.
yeah. Do it.
Oh, so good.
Well, if
Well,
I'm going to write your book, you're obviously going to have to come spend some time with me so I can pull out all the stories
oh gosh, we're gonna mess in.
and a lot of wine.
Yes, I think we need to book that. Let's do it. We just need to decide where. France, Greece, Italy, Spain.
Well, I mean, twist my arm, pick one of those places. I've never been to Portugal before. That's on my list.
I'm
I'd love
actually
to
in
go.
Albania right now if you want to come.
Oh, how long are you there?
I don't know. That is the question of the day.
Um,
These line reassignments and things that happen when you're traveling was on my way. Okay, well, let me back up. I didn't know where I was going to stay when I left Crete. Do you know this already? If you're
no.
listening, I don't know if I've told this story yet. Maybe I have. Infrequently do I not know where I'm going to stay the next day, right? I usually have at least a little visibility, sometimes a couple of days, sometimes a couple of weeks, but at the last minute, a lot of things shifted at the last, very short time frame. And so I put my client on a plane and I'm like, I'm not sure where I'm going to stay tonight. But we went on this trip, on this tour. We were in Athens. We were in Crete, came to Athens, went to see the Oracle at Delphi, and drove through this magical little town on the way. And I don't take tours. Like I'm an anti-tour. Like I've traveled nonstop basically for 10 years. I've taken 2 buses now, one at the Cliffs of Moher in Ireland, and now this one from Athens to Delphi and back. But we drove through this little town, and my whole body was like, oh my God, this is the cutest thing ever. Like, what is happening? And I literally got this like download. It was, you need to get off this bus. You need to get off. I was like, I need off the bus. And so it turned out where we got to go on our tour and it was amazing, like had an incredible experience there. I need to talk more about that later, but um on the way back we got to get off the bus and have lunch there. So I got to have like an hour and a half and I just flittered around this town and I was my God, this is fantastic. And so I thought, well, I think I'm going to come back here and just spend 2 nights. Like I booked 2 days. That 2 days turned into 5 more days,
Mhm.
and then it turned into 40 days stayed in this town.
Oh,
And it was such an incredible experience. And 40 days obviously is magical for a lot of reasons.
yes.
Uh, I was like, of course it turned into 40. I was like, okay, God, noted. Honestly, I like packed my stuff and was about to leave like 2 or 3 times. I kept thinking, okay, I'm ready. It's time for me to go. And Spirit was like, nope, you're not done yet. And then so I'd be like, all right, okay, I'll stay a little longer. Same thing again. You're not done yet. And it wasn't until the mission was complete and it was like, okay, now you can go. But what happened is I mentioned all these wonderful people that I met, wonderful people. And like you said, it's so interesting how people you've known your whole life, you can feel closer to people that you met just a few days. It's really remarkable how quickly you can feel so connected, like soul family connection. Redirected my entire trajectory because I was planning to go back to Italy, place booked, the whole deal. But at the last minute, I decided, no, I feel like I'm supposed to go here instead, where I am now. It's so perfect because it's just north of Greece. It's across from Italy. So I'm like, hello. But there's an Italian influence here, but I'm right on the water. The views
Oh,
are cool and the people are so lovely. And I actually feel like that was part of why I had to meet the people that I met there because they were from here and told me all about it. And I got so excited. So we just never know what is going to happen, at least in my life. And it's a massive game of like trust and surrender. You end up meeting incredible people that I hope to stay in touch with forever. And who knows how long I'm going to stay or what's happening, but I know for sure that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now, which is such a beautiful thing.
it's so brave and it's so exciting and it's so just like I don't want to use the word envious because that's a negative word. I'm not envious of you. I'm like delighted for you and like waiting until I get to be your sidekick.
The thing I always say is like, whenever I see someone doing something that I'm like, oh my gosh, I would love to do that or feel that way or experience that, I just think, okay, well, that's just evidence of magic. Like, I'm just evidence of magic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just because I lean into it and I create the space for it. And not everyone can do that. I mean,
No.
obviously, I don't have children. My mom has my dog loose and fancy free, right? I don't have a lot of stuff. So I can be a little more flexible and you'll have that chapter. And so for anyone that's listening, I just want to pop this in is that you don't have to like sell everything and never come back. There are ways to incorporate these beautiful experiences into a more stable, structured life, right? So, but I know that at some point, yes, you'll be flittering around the world with me, which will be so fantastic.
Well, it's kind of like this next year. I mean, I'm starting my epic 50th year on my 49th birthday, of course, because that's the beginning of your 50th year. And I'm mapping out one epic adventure every single month. I'm in a little bit of a holding pattern right now because one of my epic adventures is going to be, fingers crossed, he's still not officially in, but watching my son graduate from Air Force boot camp. So I have to wait. We don't know when he's going to be there and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, come on, give us a date so I can start planning all of my trips. But
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
I'll be with you in Crete. Yay. Yay.
Mhm.
Yay. Yay. Wait.
Wow, we're gonna have the best time. Crete is such a special place. And actually what's so lovely is that some of the friends that I just met in my 40-day adventure are from Crete, of
Oh,
course.
of course.
And I've spent like months on Crete. I don't know if you know this, but I spent I think a total of like 3 or 4 months there.
Awesome.
So it's kind of a home away from home and the people there, I mean, I'm from Oklahoma. I think you know that, but
I knew that.
I think of Crete as like the Oklahoma of Greece. Kindest, most lovely people, the most hospitable and just friendly. And that's what I always feel like when I go back to Oklahoma. It's like everyone is just so nice. What? And then I'm like, oh, no wonder. That's where I got it. You call everyone darling and sugar. So anyway, yeah, Crete is a special place, and I think you're gonna absolutely love it. So
Oh,
good.
man. I don't want to wish away the time because I mean, I have 3 children that I'm still trying to raise and get to where they need to be in life. And that time is precious. And I just have to keep to kind of to your point, like you don't have to throw it all and try and figure it out today. Like there are little things that I can do along the way. And for now, what it is for me is writing these books where I can travel to these places to do my research, but it's also research and, and then write these wonderful books where I get to just live these adventures from my house or the Starbucks that I'm writing in or, wherever. Eventually there will be a day when the kids are grown up and I can experience these things at a larger level.
Well, and I think too the inspiration for the book writing will continue as you just
Mhm.
have more and more adventures, right? And I think
Absolutely.
one thing I do want to say, because I think a lot of people about like falling in love with foreigners, there is something so fabulous about it and crazy all at the same time. But I'm telling you, it's a whole different experience when you just, and I'm not going to say random because I think that word is kind of stupid, actually. These divine appointments. I'm going to call them divine appointments, divine assignments. And when I look back on every single situation, let's call it that I've been in or found myself part of, every single one of them has been for a reason, a purpose, a lesson, a blessing, something. And I think it's so beautiful giving ourselves permission to just be in it, you know? So for those that are listening that are feeling the call, I would say book the flight.
Yes.
Book it. Book it and come and just spend time wherever you feel called. And that's what I do. And I'm just like, I'm feeling like I need to be here for a little while, so I'm gonna stay. Fortunately, I get the opportunity to do that, but there is something magical about being in magical places, beautiful places, and meeting the people that you need to meet and just being so present. And I said this on another episode recently the other day, allowing yourself to just pour all of your love in, all of your energy in, and then just be as present as you can and love people as much as you can where you are in that period of time, and just trust that that love will go with them and you'll bring with you whatever you needed to bring to the
Yeah.
next, you know?
It is beautiful, and it's kind of funny because I've been doing a lot of, like, development lately. I even just started a self-development. I'm in a book club, and I started my own one to kinda hold me accountable too, and right now we're doing the magic, and, this every day starting off with, like, serious gratitude exercises and creating this more beautiful, more vibrant world just by thinking good things and what we have and what we're grateful for rather than getting stuck in the lower vibrations. And I've been looking at law of attraction and all of these things that like what you put out, you're going to get back. And so, yeah, maybe I need a few years to build up that momentum, of putting it out there so that it all just comes rushing back when the time is right.
Well, you don't need years. I mean, 2 days, maybe a few months. That's it. You need years. It's just, again, it's a choice point.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
You vibrate at the frequency of love or above. That's it. That's all you're available for.
Mm.
That way, when you walk into a room, you emanate love. You bring the
Yeah.
room up to that vibration, and that's a
You
choice.
you definitely do that. I will never forget the first time I saw you at Kate Butler's event. Like I said, you're like Glenda the Good Witch. Like you're just so beautiful and so like I feel like you glow. You glow. You do. You bring that love. You broke me that day.
Okay,
The most beautiful way ever.
well, I think too when we go through those moments of grief and heartbreak, I mean, obviously, I have had my fair share of it as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah.
But it's the moving through and allowing it to break you open, like your heart open, but then allow it to come back in a more beautiful way, right? So,
Yeah. When you
yeah.
said that, the visualization that came into my mind, and I can't remember, you probably know what this is called, but the Japanese art of taking broken things and what
Yep.
is it?
Hitsugi.
It's
Sugi, I think.
I just imagined this heart that was broken into a million pieces but put back together with all this gold flowing through it and just how yes.
And I think too, the understanding that things work out for us in the way that they're meant to, they're serving a higher purpose, right? So everything I've had to go through and you as well, and all of us really, we are forged through fire. We are
Yes.
refined by fire and suffering. And that makes us more compassionate, more loving,
Yeah.
gracious, right? And more grateful for the good stuff because
Yeah.
we've had to go through the shit to get there, right? So it's almost as if we need the contrast in order to feel
Yeah.
such gratitude, I think. And at least for me, I've tried to use the grief and the things that have happened to allow myself to love more and
Yes.
not be afraid of loving because I know that I'm not going to lose anything by
Right.
loving, kind human, right? And
Right.
the more we give and the more we share our love and energy, like you said, the more you get back, right? Because love is your nature. Love is who you are. That's who we are at our core. So when you just hold that truth about ourselves, like that's the truth of who we are. And then if we are able to get past all of our human bullshit and whatever and just love people, then that's what we get back.
Yeah.
Truly. That's it. So you're already there. See?
What a beautiful conversation.
It is so good, isn't it? So good. So where can people find you for the books, for the magic, for all the things?
Okay, so if you want to go find my books, you can find them at Lexi Haddock on Amazon. You can go to lexihaddock.com. That's LEXIHADDOCK.com. If you're interested in learning about writing and all those types of things, probably I have two companies, writepublishsell.com. And the Women in Publishing Summit is probably my favorite place to send people. womeninpublishingsummit.com. We have stuff happening all the time. And really, that's where we're really focusing on making magic with words happening and bringing together people into a very supportive community and environment to make a bigger impact with our words.
I love it. And we'll have the links in the show notes so that way everyone that wants to check those out will have those available. So
Amazing.
can't
Thank
wait
you.
to read your new book.
It's getting really great reviews. You know, you put something out and you love it and you think, oh my gosh, I hope people like it. But it's a novella, so it's a very short, quick read. And my friend Nancy was like, I forgot I was reading a novella and I was so bummed when it was over. And I was like,
Yeah,
yes.
the Netflix series that only has like 6 episodes. You're like,
Yeah,
"What?"
I
you
know.
know?
I'm not ready to be done. So I guess that means I need to get on the next book.
My gosh, I love it. I think it's gonna be fantastic. I can't wait to read them all. I want to like get them all. So it's hard. The one thing that is hard is like getting physical things. Like, and I'm a physical book reader. I can't do online. I like to have them in my hot little hands. So it's challenging to get things,
Yeah.
in my.
We'll bring you copies when I come.
That would be great. Let's do
Yes.
that. Do
Okay.
that.
I will
Love
do
it.
that.
Thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure. I feel like we could talk for like 6 hours.
I
And
know.
we might have to do more episodes, but all that are
Thank you.
listening, again, we appreciate you tuning in, and I encourage you to check out all things that Alexa's doing. And again, book the flight. Do the thing.
Book the flight.
Yeah, book it. I love it. Okay, darling, thank you so much.
Thank
The
you.
soul sparkle, soul sparkle. With the soul sparkle.